use a football, just kind of analogy. They don't have a run game, right? Like they sometimes have issues closing games out. There's no reason they should have lost that game last night. No reason at all. But again, not taking anything away from the Celtics, that was a phenomenal performance, especially with 6 minutes left. I mean, they just went unconscious. That's what championship teams do. But the Warriors, man, they should be sick. There's no reason they should have lost that game.
Can a team do that? I mean, should they be able to do that? Because they shouldn't have put a shot up until it was 4 or 5 seconds left on the shot clock every single possession. You were right. And they just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. And those long rebounds resulted in quick points at the other end for the Celtics. But it's almost like they'd have to have like a lobotomy and say, okay, now we're going to start. We're going to take the air out of the ball here.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not built to do it, right? Like, there's no in the paint presence, really, offensively whatsoever, right? Like, this team is essentially 5 guards at any point, right? And when they're all shooting, good luck. But if they're having a night like they did last night, where Jordan Poole, is not only not hitting shots, he's hurting you as well, and the Celtics, you want to talk about a team game they played last night. Jason Tatum only had, 12 points? Something like that. Like, their point distribution last night was phenomenal. The Celtics actually beat the Warriors playing the Warriors game, right? So, now they're playing with house money, and Tatum doesn't have to be nervous in Game 2 to put up a big game. He can come and relax because you've already took that one on the road here. Game 2 is going to be fascinating, man, because if Boston wins that one and they go back home up 2-0, buddy.
Yeah. No, I think it's over. If they win that game, it's over. I'm surprised that it went up a little bit. Now, having said that, there is this theory, especially in the NBA, that it kind of snakes. You know what I mean? That one team wins the one game, and then the next team is always a big bounce back, and so on. I don't know if I'm laying 4, though, with the Warriors. I mean, even if they have a bounce back game. And the other part of it is the Celtics, they look like a deer in the headlights early in that game. And they're the team that didn't have any experience in the finals, and, Horford's playing his first final ever and everything else. By the end, they were so comfortable in that building. You wonder now that shock and awe aspect of it, jumping on them, intimidating them with the crowd and everything else. That's out the window. That's out the window. Yeah. You know what I mean? They overcame that, and now they just pick up the ball and keep rolling. There's no reason for them to be hyperventilating at the beginning of the next game.
No, that's a great point. And let's be completely honest. It might have taken away the home atmosphere, like you said, for Golden State, because let's be clear, those fans aren't Alabama fans, at Bryant-Denny. They're not Auburn fans at Georgia-Hare, right? Like, they're up when it's going well. When it's not, they're quiet. They're gone, right? Like, they're not loud, defensively. It's not like Boston is good enough offensively. They're good enough defensively, right? And they're well coached, too. Like, Boston is not a slouch here, so I'm with you, man. Like, Sunday night is going to be fascinating to see how this goes down.
Yeah, Alan Bell with us, CBS Sports Line. Is there action on how long the Deshaun Watson suspension will be? I mean, is there an over or under? Because I was thinking it might only end up being 2 games or 3 games, or they might wait until 2023 when these cases are decided. But it feels like with the HBO special and now 2 more women coming out and all of that, and just the general climate in the country right now towards these types of issues, potential issues, whether they're fact or not, it feels like now this might be a hammer. I mean, this might be 10 games or a season or something like that. Do you know if is there actually action on how long his suspension will be?
No, I haven't seen any. I'm sure that it'll come up. It'll be offshore. Somebody will do something on it. But I'm with you. And look, before this HBO thing came on, right? Like, it was a couple weeks ago. We were talking about it on the show, and it's exactly what Deshaun didn't want to happen. Like, you just want to stay out of the news, right? Like, you just don't want anything coming out. So that happens, and like you said, and look, I'm not saying anything negative against the women that are coming. We all want the truth. Whatever happened, happened. If he did it, punish him. If he didn't, let him play, right? Like, let's be clear that we're all saying that together. But yeah, man, like now, you kind of see, okay, when is the NFL actually going to make a decision? If they do it soon, it feels like it'd be the hammer. But you know what? I mean, this country's kind of crazy on to, Kanye West is getting married again or whatever, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't take long to get out of that public, image. So unless the NFL's ruling, I would say in the next 3 weeks, Deshaun might actually be okay here, right? So the hard part is this. You have no idea what the NFL's ever going to do because none of it is consistent. We have precedent, but none of it's consistent.
And the thing, see, they're dealing with a personal conduct issue. They're not dealing with a legal thing. This isn't Pac-Man Jones. This isn't a guy that got arrested. This isn't, all of the criminal charges that they found that there was no basis for any of that. Nobody ever talks about the fact that, okay, there's these 22 and now maybe 24 women that have made these accusations, and then there's another 18 women that nobody ever talks about that says that nothing ever happened, that he was a perfect gentleman and or on his behalf. Now, why the guy needs 40 masseuses, I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is that stuff may have happened, and it may be seedy, it may be kind of slimy. Guy's not married, 24-year-old athlete, all that kind of stuff. Does it rise to the point where it was illegal activity? A lot of these women had multiple sessions with him and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what they got to deal with. They're dealing with something that it's seedy, it's skeevy, but it's not illegal if he didn't force anybody to do anything. They've already determined, the court has already determined that there was nothing criminal that happened here. So that's what the NFL is walking that fine line on, and they're going to get crucified. Probably anything less than half a season, they're going to be, the NFL is all talk. That's what I worry about with that deal.
Yeah, you're right. And, I think you bring up a good point, too, that, we're looking at civil, not criminal, right? Like, Deshaun Watson's not arrested, right? Like, he didn't spend time in jail, right? Like, he's not facing – yeah. Right?
This isn't Michael Vick, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's not going to Leavenworth, right? Like, I'm with you 100%, right? Now, is it, there's some seedy behavior. It's probably in the middle. That's usually how these things end up, right? Like, But again, just bringing up the point, like you said, like these aren't criminal charges here. And we've heard a lot of people, in the media, try to compare it to, other circumstances where there were criminal charges or at least the attempt, and then, it was resolved out of court. This isn't that, right? Like, so, if you're the NFL, you're like, okay, like I get the public sentiment here, but what do you want us to do? Like, the guy he hasn't been found on
He's
anything.
A player.
Like,
Yeah, he's a player. Are we gonna crucify a guy because he's a player, basically? If unless he was forcing somebody to do something, you know what I mean? Because you would think in every one of these instances, if he were to do something where he wants to use a washcloth instead of a towel, over his private parts, you're right then and there. Any one of these masseuses could end the session. So we're done.
Yeah,
we're done. Either you do it this way or we're done. But they didn't. And so there's a certain amount of compliance involved there. And, I hate to say it. It sounds awful because everything sounds awful. But it skeevy behavior, is it the kind of thing that you crush a guy's career over?
Yeah, exactly, right? And, if I were, Deshaun's, representation and, before any decision becomes public when they're, in the room discussing it, I would say, hey, look, like, again, this isn't criminal. But if you're going to do this to my guy, like, what are we doing in Washington with Dan Snyder, the owner? Because his are 30 times worse than all of this, right? And he's supposed to be an ambassador of the league. He's your front-facing, ownership, right? So there's so many layers to this thing, man. Like the NFL, as much as we give them hell for a lot of, just dumb, silly things that they do, these decisions aren't easy, man. Like this one's tough all the way around. I get it.
No, there's no doubt about it. Alan Bell Jr. with us. All right, finally, to that note, just to finish on that thought, there's this kind of thought out there, and it might be just panacea on the part of a lot of Browns fans, but it certainly would add to the intrigue of the whole thing. If this guy gets busted for the season or 10 games or whatever, the Browns still have Baker Mayfield under contract. They will not cut Baker Mayfield. They're not going to let him walk into Pittsburgh or walk into any place else, without there being some sort of a trade. They wouldn't trade him, of course, within the division or something like that. So is there any thought that Baker Mayfield would take his $18 million, $19 million and go ahead and show up for camp? The decision is made before camp that Deshaun Watson is done for the year or done for 10 games or something like that. It seems like it would behoove Mayfield to play well, and then back everybody into a corner and say, okay, this is going to be a huge free agency deal for him for 2023. Or he sits home and he doesn't get paid. I mean, if he sits home and doesn't show up and they don't, I don't know, he doesn't get paid.
He's a professional, and he stood up like a man. 2, it's a lot of money that anybody would want, right? And 3, like you said, it's kind of an audition, right? You're like, hey, look, I can still play, right? Like, we're still good here. He's got a good team around him, right? Like, it's going to help. So I'm with you, man. Like, if it comes to that, and I were in Baker Mayfield's corner, whether I was his agent, whether I was his parent, or whether I was his buddy, for a long time, I'd say, dude, go do this. Be respectful. We get it's a terrible situation. You're not the first person that's gone through it. Just eat it for 9 months. Be, positive. Put a smile on your face and play. It will pay off for you after that, much more than just sitting at home.
And it's funny because there were so many fans, Browns fans, that were hammering him on Twitter and everything else. That dude rolls out of the tunnel for opening day. The love that he would be shown would be amazing. Because now he's like the victim. Now he's like, oh, they told him that he's their quarterback for 2022, and then they went out and they traded 3 first-round draft picks, for a guy that's got all this stank on him and Deshaun Watson. And, look, it's not even close to talent level. The difference, the only negative thing about this whole deal is the Deshaun Watson, the legal issues. That's the only thing, because otherwise – it's a no-brainer. If everybody is thinking that Deshaun Watson's their quarterback on day one and he doesn't have this stink following him around and everything else, they're a legit Super Bowl contender. But without it, they're Jacoby Brissett. You know what I mean? They're the Colts with Jacoby Brissett. Colts had Jonathan Taylor. They had other guys. Browns have all these great players, and they're Jacoby Brissett, which is a nice backup, but it's Jacoby Brissett. So, they just kind of screwed themselves over if it comes down to that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And look, and you brought it up too. Like him coming out of the tunnel, like he would be like there's nothing negative that you could say about the guy. Like you take away all of the ammunition of anybody that's negative towards you, because the more that you try and the more that you care, people will care with you. Like he would be beloved, right? Like even if it doesn't turn out great, the guy went out there and gave it. Like what more do you want him to do, right? So I'm with you, man. Like that's how you handle that for sure.
All right, always a pleasure. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Alan Bell Jr. has been our guest. AB, have a great weekend.
Hey, you too, big dog. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, we're going to break in here. We'll come back and set you up for hour number 2 from Bubby's Diner right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock from Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse, new indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
The best place to get 50s diner-style homemade delectables is Bubby's Diner. Located at 8412 Whitesburg Drive Southeast, try their all-new expanded breakfast menu with homemade waffles, omelets, and shrimp and grits. With 3 generations of experience, Chris Bubby Belcher has the best burgers in town. Don't forget to leave without a homemade pie or a hand-spun milkshake. Give Bubby's a call today at 256-513-8080. Bubby's Diner, home of the donut burger.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Now, welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. Live at Bubby's Diner. This segment of the show brought to you by TOC Sports. Now, I didn't hurt myself this morning having my special breakfast that Bubby made up for me. Chris made a special waffle for me. You can see it. It's on Twitter. It's on the Twitter. I talked about it for 3 days, that I was going to have this waffle with the egg over hard and the bacon jam on it, okay? I did have the sugar-free syrup because I'm trying to be responsible. So I had the sugar-free syrup with that waffle. But in any event, I did not hurt myself, okay? I did not hurt myself with that deal. But if I had, it would be TOC. I mean, because they've been taking care of the Tennessee Valley for years, and they can do the same for you. No matter how you got injured. You might have got hurt playing basketball. You may have got hurt raking leaves, or cutting your grass, or doing a project around your house, whatever. You need to see the docs at TOC. Maybe it's just an aging thing. You know, you get up there like me. I'm 60 years old, 61. Am I 60 or 61? 61. I'm 61 years old. You know, sometimes stuff just starts to fall off and fall apart. And then you call TOC, and they get you right. So check them out all over the Tennessee Valley. It's TOC at TOC Sports. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, Bo Estes is going to join us from NBA TV, NBA.com. That game last night was phenomenal, and it's got me jazzed. It just happens every year. I don't watch the NBA during a regular season. I watch very little NBA during a regular season, and every year we get to the championship series, I get into it, and then I can't wait for the next season to start. It's just different, though. I mean, stop me if I'm lying. The intensity is so different. Yeah. In the playoff. You know what I mean, Chris? What we saw last night, that's not what it looks like in November, December, and January.
No, because, I mean, half the time guys are sitting out, and guys are just like, they're taking that much-needed rest for no reason.
Guys who are playing are sitting out.
Yeah. Guys are playing. Guys who are
they're
starting.
Playing and sitting out at the same time. They're like playing, but they're playing like they're sitting out.
Yeah.
They're just kind of going through the motions.
And I just never understand it. I get it, like, they always talk about baseball being too long. You know, basketball is 82 games. I get it. So it's wear and tear on your body and everything like that. But it's such a smaller league to get into, and there's so many people that actually make a roster. So at the end of the day, it's like I look at the fans, and like when you don't show up for that game, it's like, you know, I would feel bad as a fan. But yeah, the playoffs are completely different. Guys play a lot harder. You know, it's just a whole different animal, and that's when I really pay attention. I've been paying attention to every playoff series since the start.
The Chubby Ninja says, heck no, my back is to the wall. My wife's back is to the room. Haven't you ever read a Louis L'Amour cowboy book? Yeah, no, nobody puts baby in a corner, Chubby Ninja. I'm just telling you right now. She's not staring at the wall. She's not staring at me when it's just me. She's facing the room. Thankfully, I get to look at her. If she was an ugly woman, that would be different. I'd maybe say, look, you know, help me out here. All right, coming up, Bo Estes, NBA TV, NBA.com. He is next. Always a great conversation. We'll get the phones opened up as well in hour number 2 from Bubby's Diner. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, it's another big National League showdown from Coors Field in Denver as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Chris Bryant and the Colorado Rockies. Braves radio's on the air at 7:25 Eastern, 6:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. We've got breaking news into ESPN Radio Center. The Philadelphia Phillies have fired games behind the Mets in the National League East. Bench coach Rob Thompson takes over as interim manager for the rest of the season. Game 1 of the NBA Finals goes to Boston thanks to a 40-point fourth quarter explosion, including a 17-0 run against the Warriors. 120-108 the final. Game 2 set for Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ABC Television. Pavel Francouz with 24 saves. Colorado Avs shut out Edmonton 4-0, have a 2-0 lead in the NHL Western Conference Finals. The East, Game 2 tonight. Rangers hosting Tampa Bay, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The best place to get 50s diner-style homemade delectables is Bubby's Diner. Located at 8412 Whitesburg Drive Southeast, try their all-new expanded breakfast menu with homemade waffles, omelets, and shrimp and grits. With 3 generations of experience, Chris Bubby Belcher has the best burgers in town. Don't forget to leave without a homemade pie or a hand-spun milkshake. Get a $50 gift certificate for $25 right now at Bubby's Diner, home of the donut burger.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, it's another big National League showdown from Coors Field in Denver as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Chris Bryant and the Colorado Rockies. Braves radio's on the air at 7:25 Eastern, 6:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. The segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. For all your service needs, it's Woody Anderson Ford. And when you get down there, look, you're going to have your vehicle serviced, and it doesn't have to be a Ford to get it serviced, but you're going to see these beautiful F-150s, and you're going to see these gorgeous Mustangs, and you're going to want one. It's going to look kind of like the big dog's driveway because there is in fact 3 ragtop Mustangs and an F-150 in my driveway because my wife drives a Mustang and 2 of my sons drive Mustangs, and everybody is in town for the big wedding coming up on Sunday. So all the Mustangs are there, and it looks like a parking lot. It looks like the lot at Woody Anderson Ford. But in any event, when you get down there, that service department is really second to none. They're going to do a tremendous job for you, and they'll get your deal done on time. Now, Grizz, we're here at Bubby's Diner. I love the motif. You know I love the motif. It's just really, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to go to the bathroom. And you know it's not a huge restaurant, right? Got that 50s feel to it. It's not huge in here. So there's some,
I like restaurants like that.
Bunch of the booths are occupied and some tables. We're kind of in between.
Love the chairs. I love the decor.
We're in between the breakfast and the lunch type of deal, right? So I decided I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
In between, at the end of the first hour, I got to go to the bathroom. So I get up and I walk into the bathroom. I get in the bathroom, and there's a sign over the toilet. It says, "Ladies, please sit for this performance." And then there's another sign over to the side. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then there's another sign over here, and it's just a single header. And there's another sign over here to the side, and it's like a frilly sign. And I'm like, wait, they have these women's signs in here in the men's room. It's kind of weird. And then I realized that the seat doesn't go up very good. It was very hard to put the seat up. And I'm like, this seat's never been put up. I'm in the women's room at Bubby's. Okay, I'm in the women's room. Now I'm like, what the hell? How do I sneak out of the women's room at Bubby's? This is a small restaurant. I got to get out of the women's room and over into the men's room. So I just got to slither quickly out of the ladies' room and go around the jukebox, the 50-style jukebox, and into the men's room where on the wall there's a picture of the Rat Pack. Then I knew I was in the men's room because the Rat Pack, man. I mean, it's just such a cool picture.
You need to have your glasses on next time you go up to the door. You got your glasses on now. I see them.
I do.
But I think you took them off right before you went.
I did. I took them off, and I don't know why. I just walked
See, now I
into the
expect that from like a funny restaurant that tries to mess with people where they have the opposite, and I've done that before. Or they have like
you go to a Mexican restaurant and they put it in the Spanish. I can't read no damn Spanish, and it's like you don't know what sombreros over here and something else over here. It's crazy. But in any event, so I hopefully nobody noticed. If they didn't notice. But now I told the story, so now they all know.
Yeah, everybody knows.
And now all the waitresses want to go in and clean the bathroom. They're like, "Oh, that's skeevy." I didn't do anything. Okay, I just walked in and turned around and walked.
Seat back down.
I did put the seat back down.
Wipe the seat.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. I just picked the seat and put the seat.
Because men do not know how to use the bathroom correctly at all. It seems like
it's bad news. So I was gonna bust Bo Estes for forgetting his phone at home yesterday when he was supposed to be on the show. But how can I bust the guy for leaving his phone home when he takes his niece to school when I go into the women's room? You know what I mean? See, getting old sucks, man.
It counters each other out, right?
It does. And Bo joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Bo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Better than you, Tom. Better than you. I just tell you that. Oh, my God. What about? I'll tell you a quick story. The night I proposed to my wife in Cincinnati, we were all going out to a big family dinner with her family in Cincinnati in a place called La Rosa's up there. And in my mind, I'm like, this is a fancy place. The whole family's going to be there. I'm going to do it. I've got the ring in my pocket all day, nervous as I could be. So nervous. And so I go to the restroom in La Rosa's, and I'm just sitting there. I'm full service. I'm finished. I've gone to the restroom, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, I've never seen feminine hygiene products in a men's bathroom before. That's interesting. And I just take note of this. It's just a mental note. But I'm still so nervous. It doesn't even register to me. So I just proudly walk out of there and go back to the table. And her grandfather was a World War II vet, a Korean War vet, just with a booming voice. And I sit down, and I still feel a little strange about what happened in the restroom, but not totally registering. And he just goes, "Bo, did I see you go into the ladies' bathroom?" So the whole table of 50 hears this. And I just, yes, sir, I believe you did. And so I had to pull the ring for that dinner because La Rosa's was basically Chuck E. Cheese without the dog. But, yeah, that was my night trying to propose to my wife.
That's great. Well, that's here I just shared it with thousands of people listening on the radio. I said I have no shame, so I can go ahead and tell that story. But it was weird. I was in there for a full minute. I mean, I had the belt buckle undone. I didn't do anything. I had the belt buckle undone. It took that long for me to recognize. This is weird. This is a little frilly for a men's room.
Yeah. Well, and Tom, you know what it's like when you're proposing the night of the proposal. You're a little nervous, so your head's not in it right. So that's where I was. I was a little lost. You were at least a little more together and recognized time.
Yeah, I was 20. My wife was 19. My girlfriend at the time was 19, and we were in Toronto on a college trip. We went to the same college, and we were on a college trip in Toronto. And I said to her, as we were getting ready to head back across the border, I said, "You know what? Why don't we get married?" That was me. That was me proposing. There was no need. There was no ring at the time. There was none. I was just like, you know what, baby? Let's. What do you say we get married? You know, you want to get married? Yeah. And
man.
we planned a wedding for like 9 months later or 10 months later, and boom, we got married. That was the whole deal. So, you know, I didn't have that.
Than I did. Much smarter.
No, I didn't have. Well, it was, it was 41 years ago, Bo. You know what I mean? 41 years. We've been married for 41 years. I didn't do all that fancy stuff, and somehow we stayed married for 41 years, which is incredible.
Well, the end of my story is this: we go back to her grandfather's house, and her cousin's there, and her grandfather and her cousin are watching wrestling, and I'm wanting to do it. I'm just wanting to propose. I'm wanting to get it over, but I can't do it while people are watching wrestling. So I had to wake her up out of her sleep and say, "Hey," I was on my knees beside the bed and asked her to marry me. Because I knew if I didn't do it that night, I might not do it for another year. So it was a struggle, but we got it done.
I have a son getting married on Sunday, and then my baby
okay.
girl, my youngest daughter, is getting married at the end of the summer, and she's 26 years old. She's marrying this guy. He's 29, maybe 30, does very well in his job. He's a high charger, and he's an outdoorsman. Him and I told him, I said, the minute you say I do, you become my favorite son-in-law. And I told my other son-in-laws that. I said, I just want you to know that Blaine goes to the top of the list the minute. But he took her to, last September, he took her to Hawaii just for the proposal. I mean, they went out to Hawaii, spent a week out there, did the whole ring on the beach. They hired a photographer. I mean, the photographer cost more than what my wedding cost 40 years ago. I mean, he did all of that stuff. And I keep telling them, I'm trying to tell my son, who he also does very well, and he's marrying a girl that's a real estate, and she does well, but they're just not going to blow a bunch of money on the wedding. It's going to be a small wedding at the foot of a big, huge cross at the University of the South in Sewanee, Tennessee, and then the reception is going to be in Nashville, but the whole thing is very, affordable. My daughter's wedding, I mean, this is one of these, wedding of the century type things, and they are spending an absolute fortune. And I keep telling them, and I know they make good money, but I keep telling them, it's literally like 5 hours, guys. I mean, it's 5 hours, and you get some pictures. Don't blow your down payment on a house. They got a nice house, but I mean, don't blow that kind of money on a wedding. But they want that kind of a wedding, so it's going to be one of these big, huge deals. So
I just like the idea that you have the big dog's son-in-law ranking somewhere. I'd like to see that chart. I'd like to see the movement on that chart. I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, we have that. And we also have here at Bubby's Diner, I was looking at the menu. The proprietor here, Chris Bubby Belcher, he had shown me their new menu. And their bacon jam cheeseburger, which is a cheeseburger with, of course, bacon on it, and it's a bacon jam. It's not just a couple of pieces of bacon. It's a special kind of bacon jam. Anyway, the Kimmy's Bacon Jam Cheeseburger on the menu, you get a kick out of this, Bo. Right underneath it, in parentheses, it says Thom Abraham, the big dog's favorite. So how about that? I made the menu at Bubby's. I'm done. Nice. My career's over. Nice. I made the menu at Bubby's. Did you catch any of your boy?
Bucket list thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a bucket list thing. I've had some sandwiches named after me at different places. There's one in Nashville, one in Florida. There are places where sandwiches. There's some Thom Abraham Show shirts that hang in a couple of different places down in Florida. So I've had that moment. But here, Bubby's Diner, I mean, this is the thing. Did you catch any of your boy Chuck on the golf on what was it, Wednesday night? Doing a commentary on the golf, because I thought it was the best part of the program. He's fantastic, man. He was hilarious.
And he's loose. Yeah, I saw some of the highlights of it. I was actually working that night, but I saw some of the highlights of it. He's really the best there is. And I don't know how much longer we're going to have him in that capacity. I mean, I think he's seriously thinking about stepping down from the mic pretty soon. So, man, enjoy the heck out of this guy. He's just so entertaining, so fun. People gravitate towards him. I tell anybody who will listen that Charles Barkley is the single funniest human I've ever met in person in my life. And much younger in my career, and when Charles was much younger, a group of us used to go out at night, and it was just wild fun, just absolutely wild fun. He's just an absolute treasure. I love the guy.
I would, if I were that, I would figure out a way to put him on golf, especially like Thursday, Friday. He loves golf, and he knows the history of the game. Yeah. He knows the players and so on. I think he would be fantastic in the booth, on golf, not as an expert, but as an entertainer and just as a guy that is covering it. And, of course, Ernie was doing the play-by-play, and he would have to keep reeling Chuck in. But it was hilarious. Chuck at one point in time, Chuck says, he goes, I've been with TNT for 20 years. I've been trying to get him to give me a good job. He goes, they finally gave me something good to do. It was fantastic.
One of the joys of watching Charles is watching how Ernie just gets uncomfortable. It's like, this is going off the rails. I've got to reel it in. And Charles just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. Those two guys absolutely love each other like brothers. But that's a hilarious relationship and a pull and push there when Charles is really going. You know, there's some of the famous clips on the internet when he's talking about the women of San Antonio or Blake Griffin scared of Chris Paul, all that stuff. And Ernie's just like, oh, we got to stop him. We got to get him to stop. And then Shaq will egg Charles on, and Kenny will egg Charles on, and it just keeps going and going. It's fantastic.
And unfortunately, I don't think there's any outlet for him to get loose. You know, ABC's doing a fine job, and they're going to have all the finals and so on. I get that. And every once in a while, they bring him in. I mean, I've seen them bring him in on ESPN and stuff that. But I would love to have heard what he had to say about that fourth quarter last night, because that thing, first of all, from a betting standpoint, I got to tell you, I had the Celtics plus 3.5, and I was sweating that out big time at the end of the third. I'm like, they're going to get blown out of this building. They're going to get beat by 20 here in this thing tonight, and they come storming back. But just the 40-16 fourth quarter, the 7 straight three-pointers, Al Horford going off, the 17-0 run, completely shutting down the crowd in San Francisco. That was one of the most stunning things that I've seen in my many, many, many years of watching professional sports. That was fantastic.
So there's a couple of possibilities here. One, it's a possibility that we just watched one hot quarter, right? It really is. There's also the possibility that we sort of started watching a changing of the guard right there. The Celtics, when they are rolling, they are long, they are athletic, they are certainly quicker than Golden State. They're certainly more physical than Golden State. Golden State can just shoot like that from time to time. Steph Curry's first quarter was nuclear. He went nuts out there. So I you have to respect the idea that still exists as a possibility. But underrated in all of this, Jason Tatum, from a shooting standpoint, terrible in that game. He's not going to be that bad again. I don't know that the rest of the Celtics are going to be that good, because it's a team they shot over 50% from three. But what Jason Tatum did in that fourth quarter, he had 4 assists. In that fourth quarter, Jaylen Brown had 5 assists. So they were penetrating and dishing and causing the Warriors' defense to collapse. And I'll tell you something else that happened in that fourth quarter. Draymond Green's defense didn't look that great to me. It really didn't. He looked like he was getting taken advantage of. And this, I keep saying this could be a redo of the 1991 finals. I'm not sure of it, but it could be, when everybody thought this legacy team, the Showtime Warriors, or Showtime Lakers, they're back in the NBA finals. They're going to win the championship. And the Bulls were just younger and hungrier and faster and more athletic. It could be that. I'm not positive, but this Celtics team looks really good.
It looks like a matchup of styles that the more physical team won and wore down the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors came out like a racehorse, and 21 points in the first quarter for Stud. You talk about that. He only has 13 points the rest of the way, and can't throw it in the ocean in the fourth quarter. We want to move him, because yesterday, if we had talked yesterday, we would have talked quite a bit about Steph's legacy if he gets number 4. And the fact that Stephen A. Smith thinks that he's going to get 4 and 5 and exceed LeBron James, and then in terms of championships, and put him in that rarefied era of 5+ type guys, and then what do we do to him? Does he now become the guy that's on the outside edge of the top 10 all time? Does he become a GOAT material? Where he's top 5, top 6 type of guy? but he's got to have some fourth quarters where he puts the team on his back, right, and carries them to the win like some of these other guys have, and it just seemed like he was whipped by the time it got to the fourth quarter.
Well, it's a question of strategy, too, because Ime Udoka started off in what, if you listen around, it's called drop coverage. So Boston was going below all the screens and leaving the shooters open and just daring Golden State and seeing what would happen. Well, what happened was what you thought would happen. Steph Curry's getting open looks, and he just drains them over and over again. So once they started switching and going over the top and really applying pressure to the three-point shooters, now that opens up some stuff for Golden State, but it makes it tough for them to shoot outside. And so that's what Boston chose from there on in, and it sort of changed the game. Now, Golden State won the third quarter by 14 points, and it's hard to forget that because they looked fantastic in the third quarter. But Boston just may have a gear. They just may have a gear that I don't know that the Warriors can get to. Again, I hate to make too much of one game. Remember Allen Iverson's Philadelphia 76ers beat the Lakers in the opening game of their championship series and lost 4 straight. This stuff happens. It really does.
This isn't that team now, right? I mean, this Celtics team is not that 76er team,
And to that point, Tom, think about this. They had the Defensive Player of the Year on their team, the Boston Celtics do, and Marcus Smart. And he's supposed to be guarding Steph Curry, right? So in the third quarter with 2.5 minutes left, Marcus Smart comes out. He doesn't come back in until 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's how versatile they are. They've got a Derek White. They've got a Peyton Pritchard. They can just go find the hot guy and make it work on each given night. And Marcus Smart was a hot guy, frankly, but they just rode the hot hand when they were on that run, and that's because they've got those options. They've got a guy like Grant Williams who's likely to have a really good game in this series. Just so many weapons this team has, and they're all bigger, and they're all more physical defenders with the exception of Peyton Pritchard. I mean, this is a team that really does – we talked about it. This is a matchup problem for Golden State. If you just look at it on paper before the series, this is a matchup problem. I'll go to my grave thinking that Milwaukee, with a healthy Chris Middleton, rolls through these playoffs and beats them to death. But even this Boston Celtics team is a real matchup problem for the Golden State Warriors. And I think, I think they'll figure some stuff out. I would expect them to win Game 2, but boy, if things start going badly in Game 2, look out because this could get ugly.
Bo Estes with us, NBA TV, NBA.com. All right, I'm going to say this, though, too. Steve Kerr, who, as you know, I don't like because we're political leanings are so obvious. I don't like him for political reasons. Anyway, Steve Kerr, they're up 14 with 9 minutes to go in a game. I know they're a run and gun team, but I mean, at some point in time, can you take the air out of the ball? I mean, can you run the ball a little bit there and maybe shorten the game? Because it seemed like they just keep jacking up those threes, giving up the long rebounds, which sets up a quick break down the other end of the floor. The Celtics were making everything that they looked at in the fourth quarter from downtown, 51%, some stupid number like that all day from downtown, which is ridiculous. But it seemed like from a strategic standpoint, the Warriors should have been able to milk that last 9 minutes and maintain that 14-point lead, or at least win the game by 3 or 4 points. But they never stopped doing what they do to get that lead, which is run and gun. I mean, they shouldn't have taken a shot before there was 4 seconds on the shot clock, but it didn't seem like they had the strategy to do that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, another thing that's going on with that is in the post game, you could tell Steph Curry was really frustrated. And I think what he's thinking is he wants more minutes in this series. Traditionally, he comes out late in the third quarter, and he really sits into the fourth quarter. They got him back with 9 minutes left in this one. But I think that Steph Curry basically says, we got to have everybody on the court all the time. We can't be doing this minutes management now. He played 38 minutes last night. Can he play 42, 43, 44 at this time of year with this much on the line? So I think that, as much as we've talked about Golden State's depth this year with the addition of Jordan Poole becoming a better player, now they're getting Otto Porter, Andre Iguodala back, Gary Payton back. I'm not sure that they're going to go to that depth as much as they have been The other thing I talk about, Tom, is I don't know what their lineup is that answers the Boston Celtics, because they start Kevon Looney at center. They start him with Draymond Green. That's two guys that don't score. So you're really guarding three guys at that point, unless you're worried about somebody dunking the basket. And then if they go to Jordan Poole instead of Looney, then they get really small, and Boston can really harass them. I don't know that they have a five. Historically we talk about these death lineups that the Golden State Warriors have. I don't know that they have a five that they can go to that just is an absolute knockout punch to the Boston Celtics right now. And that's something new for Golden State to deal with too, is that they don't have a turbo button against this specific team, because this specific team is a matchup problem for them. I think Steve Kerr will figure stuff out, and I give Steve Kerr credit. Boston, or rather Golden State, is famous for their third quarter runs. Any team that comes out after half and starts making runs, we tend to credit the coach, and I think he deserves some credit there. But I just think, man, I don't know that they have a group that can go there and just smoke the Celtics, even if it's for 5 minutes, and give you a run to push you away just automatically, that you can expect it, because of the way Boston defends, because of the length they have. It starts with Marcus Smart. He's big and physical and super long. And then they go to Derek White, who's even bigger on a Steph Curry. So it's just nothing's going to be easy for Golden State in this series, at least the way it looked last night.
As a Knicks fan, I'm not supposed to say anything nice about anybody on the Celtics, but they did make me some money last night, so I guess I will say this. Am I wrong to really like Al Horford? I mean, he's a clean-cut guy. He seems like a great guy. He's playing in his first finals. He had, the best shooting game anybody ever had in their finals debut. But there's just something about him. I was watching him, the way he was interacting with his children afterwards, and to grab them and bring them out on the court and all that kind of stuff. This just seems like a really good guy. I don't know a ton about him, but it seems like he's the kind of guy. I just like the guy. He doesn't have green hair. You know what I mean? He just seems to be somebody that you can say, that's a good guy. That's a guy I like.
Tom, did you see the moment when the clock ticked out in the Eastern Conference Finals and the director cuts to Al Horford and he's just on his hands and knees on the floor, pounding the floor like he's given his whole career for this moment? He really has. We remember him from all the way back in the days when he was paired with Joakim Noah in Florida, winning back-to-back national championships.
Right.
He's still at it. He's still grinding. He's still going, and he's still really, really valuable. And to his credit, he changed and adapted his game to fit to the modern way. He now has a three-point shot. He's worked hard to make that happen. I think beyond all that, beyond the fact that he's still a very useful defender, still a very useful shooter, he's a great leader, not a good leader, an absolutely great leader. And when you think about this team, this is a young team. Jason Tatum's really young. Jaylen Brown's really young. Marcus Smart relatively young. Robert Williams young. I mean, this is a team that's young. They need somebody like that, and they have that in Al Horford. So I think his importance to this team is, it's something that you can look to as a key, not just in this series, but going through these playoffs. He's a steadying influence. And you're right. I think he's a guy you can cheer for, because remember, he was on those Hawks teams that
10 years,
frankly, were really good. Yeah, they were really good. It was LeBron's prime in Cleveland and LeBron's prime in Miami. And so what are you going to do? It's not easy to beat that team. So it's good to see him get this trip to the finals. I don't know if they're going to win it or not, but to see him get it and be on the biggest stage like that, it's really hard work paying off, and I love seeing that.
To that note, Sunday night, if the Celtics win, is it over? I mean, is it done? I mean, it's bigger for the Warriors, obviously, than it is for the Celtics. If the Warriors win, I still think we're in for a long series. But how important is it that the Warriors absolutely, positively have to win a game where the shock and awe is over? Coming out and hyperventilating in your first game. So many of those guys on the Celtics hadn't been in this situation. They're in a hostile crowd and everything else, and they couldn't breathe for a while. But now that they had that fourth quarter, they're liable to just show up and keep on going. Like they're not going to be intimidated anymore. That's off the table.
Well,
do the Celtics or do the Warriors have to win that game, or it's over?
I think they do. I going down 2-0 and then going back to Boston, that seems very difficult to me. Very, very difficult. It could be done, but now your odds are really long to win the championship. The team that wins Game 1 of the NBA Finals wins over 70% of those finals series.
Wow.
That's the number. And so they're.
What about on the road? I wonder about team. I wonder you winning
weirdly,
on the road.
It goes down on the road. It's slightly less than 50%. And the reason for that is typically if you do that, you're playing a 1 seed that there is, the 1 seed in this finals won 53 games this year. That's not an overwhelming team. It's not a 60-win team and not a 65-win team. Typically, that's what you're going up against with a 1 seed, especially if you're the road team. So they tend to come back. But I don't look at it this way because Golden State's a 53-win team. Boston's a 51-win team that is different since the start of the year. So I'm not as concerned with that stat. But I do think that if they go – and I've thought about this. What if Boston blows them out in Game 2? What if they just blow the doors off of Golden State? It's over, right? That's done. The writing's on the – it has to be on the wall in Golden State if they lose Game 2. Sort of like this is the young team, and they're taking it from us. This is the generational change, and we're being knocked out. They would have to realize that. I think I would at least if I was in that locker room.
All right, keep your cell phone in your pocket. We'll talk next week.
Take care, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, man. See you. Bo Estes, good friend, good guy. And further evidence that I can be very friendly with a guy that, again, is a complete political opposite of me. Oh, no, you know me. I'm right at Genghis Khan. That dude there is way over to the other side. He moved to California. I mean, think about that. Who moves to California? Most people are leaving California to come to America. He moved to California, but yet we still get along. So that's a good thing. All right, we'll get a break in here. We went long there. We'll have open lines. Grizzle rejoin me next. It's all coming up here from Bubby's Diner on Whitesburg is where we're at. Get into the deals and get your Bubbies on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
NBA Finals heading into Game 2 on Sunday. Golden State hosting the Boston Celtics. The Celtics taking Game 1 on Thursday night, 120-108, rallying in the fourth quarter where they outscored the Warriors 40-16. Golden State a 4.5-point favorite to try to even up the series. They're minus 196 on the money line. Boston at plus 164. The over-under at 215.5. Jason Tatum currently the favorite to win the MVP of the series, plus 130. Steph Curry, plus 160. Jaylen Brown at plus 600. For vsin.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures a little cooler, hanging out in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Dropping into the lower 50s as we head into the overnight. Looking like it's going to be, for the most part, a fantastic weekend across the Tennessee Valley. Plenty of sunshine for your Saturday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 80s. Dropping into the lower 60s as we head into your Sunday morning. Partly sunny sky through Sunday afternoon. Maybe an isolated shower. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to Bubby's Diner. Segment of the show is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. My buddy Brian Hamaker, I'm sure he is very much into what's going on in a golf or the fishing tournament out on Pickwick Lake. He and I fish a lot of the same tournaments and so on. You know, right now it's very competitive out there in the market to buy a house, to purchase a house, and North Alabama Mortgage can help you get your offer accepted. Yeah, no, really. They can help you get your offer accepted, and you need to check that out with them to find out how you can do it. Just go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Whether you're in Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, North Alabama Mortgage can take care of you and help you with that mortgage. Now, rates are going up, so this is a good time to get locked in at North Alabama Mortgage. Get your rate locked in and pull some of that money that you've got buried in your house out and do a little renovation or take care of college expenses, any of those types of things. Speaking of renovations, Grizz, you know we built a new kitchen.
Yes, how'd that go?
Out there at the Abraham Hacienda, and we bought some land, additional land, and we put up some fencing. My family, my parents, they're on the way here for the wedding. I think they're in Chattanooga right now. They were actually going to come to Bubby's. They were going to swing by Bubby's to the remote, and So I kept telling him when he was in, like, Valdosta, I said, what you need to do is cut over, like, to Birmingham. What you need to do is, like, before you get to Atlanta, cut over on 20, head west on 20 to Birmingham, and then come up the gut, on 65, and you could come right here to Huntsville. And they didn't. They ended up missing 20, and they ended up in Chattanooga. But that's all right. We'll come over there. It says we'll be there 10. So now I'm in this conversation with them about what time it is because they're in the Eastern time zone. And it's only 1 hour, but it's it's so annoying.
It really is.
Yeah, and he's like, well, Atlanta, it changes to Central. No, it doesn't. Well, when does it change to Central? The GPS says we're going to be at your house at 10:30, which means we're only an hour and a half out. I think, no, you're not an hour and a half because your GPS is adjusting for Central time. And he can't get that concept right. He's like, when I was coming here, he's like, well, it's 9:30 now, but it says we'll be at your place by 10:30.
Yeah.
I said, you're not going to be here by 10:30. You'll be here by 10:30 Central. But that would mean it's 8:30 there.
Right.
Yeah, but it's only an hour difference. And I'm like, no, you don't understand the GPS. Oh, my God, it's so annoying. But here's the thing. I cannot remember another time where I was so looking forward to seeing my parents.
It's always.
No, not so much. Not so much with me. I mean, they're annoying. They're 82 years old. They're born 4 days apart. They've been married for over 60
They're probably
years.
listening to you right now.
They might not be. He doesn't understand the concept of the. I don't think they're. My understanding is that they stopped in Chattanooga to see my niece, one of their other grandkids, who lives in Chattanooga, went to UT Chat, and I think that they ended up having lunch with her there, and then the timing of it all. That's about an hour from where I live in Winchester, and I'm about an hour from there from here, and so when I leave, they're going to leave. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's very, very confusing. He says, we'll be there at 2:30. I said, no, you'll be here at 1:30 because it's Eastern, Central, and everything else. I did see him in January, so it's not like I haven't seen my parents in years.
I saw my parents Sunday.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him in January. No, I fished a tournament down there.
Yeah.
I saw him in January. But for some reason, I can't wait for them to see what we did with the kitchen.
Yeah.
And the property.
That's good.
The thing is, their response is not going to be as great as I want it to be. My mother is going to be like, why did you put the microwave over there? My father's going to be like, I smell gas. You know what I mean? Hey, have you had the gas company come down here and check for leaks? I want them to be excited. I want them to look and say, wow, I can't believe what you did.
Never.
Did most of this with
parents. You're never supposed to do that for your kid.
Yeah, we did most of this with my own hands, the cupboards and everything else, and they're just not going to react the way I want them to react. You know what I mean? And my mother's already asked me about the guest bedroom and whether or not the mattress is that the same mattress that was there the last time I stayed there. They haven't stayed there in our house in 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and my dad has been talking about, last week I fished in that big tournament at Old Hickory Lake, and I had a 4.5-pounder at 7:30 in the morning, and then we really didn't do anything the rest of the day. We caught a couple of more keepers, but we really didn't do anything the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And so he saw the picture of the 4.5-pounder on the Facebook, and he said, well, if you caught one, why didn't you catch 5? You know what I mean? It's like, well, why didn't you have 20 pounds then? That was 4.5 pounds. I'm sure there were 4 more of those. I'm like, no, Dad, they're kind of hard to catch, And
I don't walk into him and tell him which electrical, outlets you use and everything like that.
Don't you have a toaster?
I really should be grounded, sir.
Yeah. I mean, don't you have a microwave to plug in or something? I mean, come on, leave me alone. So, and he's the one that gave me the love of fishing. He's the one that taught me about fishing and taught me how to fish and everything else. And he has been out in my for 2 years. He's been, I gotta get on that boat. You're gonna take me fishing. But I know what's gonna happen. So tomorrow morning I'm taking him out. He said, what time are we going? I said dark 30, man. I'm up every day at 3:30. Whatever time you want to go. I said we're gonna go at crack of dawn. I want to get the topwater bite. We're gonna go early. Okay, fine. Do I need a jacket, a long sleeve shirt, and a jacket? Right? I go, Dad, you're not coming to Canada. No, you don't need a long. Well, I just need to know how to dress properly. Should I get a long sleeve shirt and I have my heavy coat? He says I have my heavy coat. I said you don't need a heavy.
Not a heavy coat, like a rain jacket or something.
Yeah, maybe. I said maybe
windbreaker.
Light windbreaker or something like that. And I said we'll be fine. Well, that's if the weather holds up. I said it's going to be 84 and sunny tomorrow. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. So he's already on me, right? And I know what's going to happen. You know how it is with a bass boat, right?
Yeah.
you have to hammer it to just get on plane.
Right.
I have to go 45 just to get up on plane. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's going to be, have to pound me like that. You know, he's going to start with, why are we pounding like this with the wave? Slow down. Can you take it a little easier? He's going to be saying that stuff to me. And I'm so looking forward to taking my dad fishing because you never know when the last time is going to be.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's 82, 83 years old.
Yeah.
This could
Anytime,
be the last
any
time.
age.
But I mean, when you get
Yeah.
to this point, he's not buying green apples. You know what I mean? He's older.
Yeah.
So, and I know I'm so excited about this, and I think that by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be thoroughly annoyed. I mean, I'm just going to be thoroughly annoyed. I'm going to tell him, make sure you wear a life jacket. I got 2 life jackets in the boat. I'm going to say, make sure you have a life jacket.
I might hit a wave a little too hard.
Yeah, and there's not even. I mean, I'm taking him to Woods Reservoir, which is small.
Yeah,
it's not wavy.
That's the thing about it, though. If you don't go fast, like you said, if you don't go over the waves, you're just gonna. I mean, it's constantly just gonna hit slow, and that's even worse than if you're hitting it fast.
I'm going to tell him, say, look, if I get up on plane, we'll ride the crest of the waves. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if you want me to go slow, you want me to plow, and then I'm going to bang into everything. You know what I mean? I'm going to. It's going to be like
unless you get that cross wave from some other boat or something like that, and you hit it at the right point.
The over or under on when he mentions his kidneys is 7:28.
Well, what's the over under on complaints? Like I feel like that's a bigger number.
6:30. 6:30. I'll get the first complaint. About he'll say something about one of the rods that I gave him to use. He'll backlash it and he'll tell me that it's my fault that I got junk equipment, even though every combo I got in my boat's $300.
I always thought that that was always what I thought with my dad. It's like I always thought he had junk equipment because half the time it would snap or like he'd probably make it snap because something frustrated him.
I think that's what'll happen. I think by 6:30 I'll get the first complaint.
Yeah.
I think the over or under by the time my father will mention his kidneys will be 7:28. He'll say something about, my kidneys can't take this pounding. I'm like, Dad, you wanted to go out on my bass boat. I'm telling you, that's the way it's going to be. We'll see. They were gonna come here. Joining me now here is Bubby, Chris Belcher here joining us. Here, Chris, slide this way a little bit so you can see your face. We're on TV too, so you want them to see your happy face there. So there you go. And see, they're seeing my mug that I stole. I stole this mug here from Bubby's, and so that's going to be my new favorite mug, so if people can see that. So my parents are coming in for the wedding. We got a big wedding this weekend. They're coming in for the wedding, and they wanted to come here. They're coming from Florida, and I told them, before you get to Atlanta, take 20 over to Birmingham and come up 65, and then you can come straight to Huntsville. They ended up in Chattanooga. And they're coming over, and he keeps saying that he's got time because he keeps looking at the GPS, which is already adjusting for Central Time from Eastern Time. They live in Eastern Time. This hour has gotten so flummoxed that they ended up, I don't even know if they'll make it here for the wedding. And the wedding's not till Sunday. So, anyway. Man, the place looks great. This is fantastic. When does Bubby's 2 open? I'm already opening up more joints. I think there should be like 2 or 3 of these Bubby's around the Tennessee Valley. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, we're waiting on you to invest
in
us so we can do that.
it'd be Bubby and dogs. then that's what it'll be. You guys have you've renovated. You've renovated your menu a little bit here. You've made some changes and updated the menu, adding more stuff to the breakfast menu as well. But this, I would imagine. This kind of a joint is a place where people want that comfort food. They want to come in here. You don't need to get too fancy with this menu, do you?
No, not at all. So when we opened, we wanted to make breakfast as simple as possible. So now that we're a little seasoned, we can add things like corned beef and hash.
Right.
And omelets.
And omelets, yeah, a lot of great. Now, who's cooking? Because I keep seeing you going in the back. Are you doing a lot of this cooking?
So today I'm actually washing dishes. So
okay.
Thanks for pulling me out of the dish room.
Well, there you go.
So I've got a couple really good cooks back there, though.
What I'm impressed with is that you've got staff. And you seem like you've got good staff, too. I mean, you've got good staff. And then, after COVID, it was so difficult to get anybody to come to work. But it's really neat that you got staff, and they seem to be doing a tremendous job.
Yeah. Well, half of them are my kids.
Family?
Well, there's one of my daughters right there. So you talked with
Malia. Malia,
right.
is she your kin or no?
She is not, but we were.
I'm trying to hook her up with Grizz.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you knew
work. Well, no, I believe she's married. So
she's married, Grizz.
But, we
Thanks,
got
Tom.
her about a month ago, and that was what a blessing that was to get her.
That's what she said. She said she's only been here for a month. Grizz in studio. Grizz, I tried to hook you up with a married woman.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I told you you're gonna get me beat
Her
up.
husband's on his way here to kick your ass.
Yeah, I told you
You're
gonna get me beat up. I told you.
All right, so not Malia. It's scratch her from your list. All right.
I believe that Tisha may be single, though.
Tisha's single.
Chad's eaten in here before.
I've been
We'll
in
check, Chad. Chad says he comes in, he asks for you. I said, Chad, when you're single, you don't ask for Bubby. You ask for a waitress, not a Bubby. That's just the route you don't want to go. Well, I tell you what, I love coming here and doing a show. I mean, it is really cool to come in here and do a show, and I'm right between breakfast and lunch, which is neat, so I kind of get in here between. Now, we have run off a couple of folks that have come and sat here that didn't really. We had a guy sitting here that is a fan of the show, and he enjoyed that. But in a few other instances, we've had some other folks that they don't want to listen to me talk and ramble on, so they moved to the other end of the restaurant. But the dessert menu is fantastic as well. This deep-fried banana pudding with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Does that come with a defibrillator too, or what?
No.
I mean,
you order that after you order the donut burger.
Donut burger for lunch, and then chase it down with a deep fried banana pudding with a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, and a root beer.
I did ask Malia to have a hand dipped vanilla malt ready for me for when I hit the road. I'm gonna hit that on the way out of here. So hopefully she remembered and she'll have that ready because I'm leaving here in 11 minutes.
I'll tell her to make 2. So then I'll get 1.
There you go.
Right.
Then you get 1. I'll cover you. I'll put it on my tab. All right, my tab. This is great, man. Tremendous support for the radio station. I know you listen as well, which is fun. The girls tell me when they go in the back, a lot of times the show's on back there in the back room, which is really cool as well. But I love what you're doing with the joint, and I know business is great. And someday there'll be a Bubby's too. I really think there will.
I think so too.
I think so too.
All right. Thanks,
man.
Tom.
Appreciate
you.
Chris Belcher, Bubby. Well, wash some dishes, will you? He's going in there to wash dishes. All right. Let's get a break. We'll come back with some final thoughts next and wrap it up. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The best place to get 50s diner-style homemade delectables is Bubby's Diner. Located at 8412 Whitesburg Drive Southeast, try their all-new expanded breakfast menu with homemade waffles, omelets, and shrimp and grits. With 3 generations of experience, Chris Bubby Belcher has the best burgers in town. Don't forget to leave without a homemade pie or a hand-spun milkshake. Get a $50 gift certificate for $25 right now at Bubby's Diner, home of the donut burger.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhsriserealestate.com.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, it's another big National League showdown from Coors Field in Denver as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Chris Bryant and the Colorado Rockies. Braves radio's on the air at 7:25 Eastern, 6:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chomp. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Ding me.
Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sweet Home is brought to you by Bubby's. So that's where we've been today. I want to thank the staff here and the crew. There it is, Grizz. A malted vanilla with a cherry on top from Married Malaya. Malaya? What'd you say her name was? Malia? Married Malia. Hooked me up with the malted. So that's a good job by her, and I'm excited about that. For when I make the run out of here.
She's going to quit.
Grizz. Who is she's going to quit?
She's
no,
gonna quit after today.
No, Bubby says she's great. No, she can't quit. Jeez, don't quit, Malia. Don't quit the job. Don't worry, I won't be harassing you all the time. I know you want to get loose. Game 2 coming up on Sunday night of the NBA Final. It was a scintillating game last night. How critical, though, is that game for the Warriors? I mean, it's a do or die for the Warriors. I don't think they can afford to go down 2-0 at home.
Yeah, and what I noticed a little bit that I guess wasn't really talked about too in that game is when you looked at it, it's Al Horford going off, which I as an Atlanta Hawks fan, I love Al Horford, love to see him, in his first finals go off and everything like that. But if Jason Tatum's, got 12 points and you're relying on White, Jaylen Brown and other players, to kind of lead you, I don't see Derek White doing the same thing again. I don't see him getting 21 points. I don't see him playing as much as he did play as he did and being a huge factor. This is a guy that averaged 12 points in the regular season. So, I see Golden State still having a chance. I mean, I still say like Warriors in 6, Warriors in 5. I mean, they can still take that one game. And that was the thing. It was this felt like the game where it's a big game. It's the first game. The Celtics have, really, I mean, nobody has anything to lose. So the Celtics can just throw whatever they want. And they bully balled them really on the Warriors because the Warriors like to go small. And there were a couple instances where Jordan Poole, I think at halftime, had the ball a little too long. And they tried to make a shot, and it was just awful. And there was just a lot of bonehead plays. And then when you take your starters out, Steve Kerr, in the third quarter, and they get kind of cold, and you should have kept them in and kept them fresh or just kept them hot and kept them going, I think there would have been a little bit better fourth quarter out of them. I mean, when you get outscored 17-0 on a 17-0 run for 5 minutes in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, you're going to lose. And I think you got to give Boston a lot of credit to take that one game, but I can see where Golden State's going to right the ship. They've done this before. They got embarrassed by OKC and then came back and beat them. So I think there's going to be hell to pay for the Celtics for that first game.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I really think they're the more. I get it. They're older. They're the more.
Tatum isn't going to play like that.
Here's the thing. Is Al Horford going to score 26 points again? He can still get 10, 11 rebounds, but I don't see Al Horford being a guy that's going to give you 25, 30 in this entire series. So if Jaylen Brown is scoring, If Marcus Smart is scoring, Boston's going to have a good chance of winning this series. But if they can't get those top 3 to do anything, it's going to be a long, long series. And then it could go to, and it very well could go to 7 now.
I'm telling you right now, Celtics in 6. Celtics in 6.
They keep playing like they did last night, just bullying them, out physical them.
I want to thank everybody here at Bubby's. They did a tremendous job. I want to thank the folks that were eating here that are not fans of the show that put up with me. The ones that are here that do know the show, hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Tuesday on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Great food and the best life.